make sure that thing works, and I'll get it out on Twitter and everywhere else. Let's see. Hey, it looks like it's wanting to. It looks like it's thinking about it. We are live. Come on.
Maybe.
There it is. All right. Now I can put it out on Twitter.
No, I think I probably have to do some muting things. Because I'm never any good at that. Live now. Mute. There we go.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'll figure out how to pipe our 3 videos into YouTube soon. Unfortunately, it only does my video right now, but we're an amateur operation here, and we switched to Zoom about 30 minutes ago. So, but it's the superior form of communication for this type of thing. Just got to figure out that last piece, but we can see each other, so that's what matters.
If I can figure it out, that means anybody can.
Right? Let's see here. Live streaming, we are there. Got some folks on. Cool. Well, Freddie, it's been a while since we've had you, so let's see. I would say the rules are the same, but, I mean, what rules, right? So, hopefully all the sound stuff works out. We did a little bit of sound check, and, I mean, it just kind of worked out of the box with Zoom, so I don't have anything there that's too interesting. Let's see. I just need to move that over. But yeah, we should be ready to roll here. Let me see. And you should actually be able to hear us during the intro now. So that's new. So yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to guess when to talk.
Yeah. Assuming it all works out. If not, I'll go silent for about a minute and a half, and then come back and you'll hear me bring you on. But otherwise, it should be all good. We ready to get rolling, Sherwin?
Good.
All right, Freddie.
Yo, yeah.
Here we go. We are recording now. Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is a Pregame Engineer Tailgame Air Racing Podcast, episode number 256, or 55, something or other. It's Tuesday, August 18th, 2020. I'm Tailgame Air Rusty Wallace, and I am in the PTM Podcast studio. We'll bring on the rest of our guests here shortly, but y'all know what the deal is. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the Watch Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie and some stickers. Best part is, every cent this year, at some point, we're donating to sponsored drivers. Join the PTM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you by our official sponsors at that $5 and up per month level. Here we go. Aaron Bearden, Robert Kevlinger, Colton McClain, Eric Kepner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Brandon Carl, Rika Porter, Jump Bob, Les Miller, Julie Bosley, Eddie Grier III, Younger Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Crystal Smoke, Fred Rosato, Chad Knapping, Stacey Coleman, Lisa Chanana, Rick Houston, Sarah Anbari, Evan Roller, Brad Harrison, Matthew Bishop, Matthew Camper, Harry Bolzanga, and Evan Jones. I think I got it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to try it again.
No, I think I'm done there. Ladies and gentlemen, from the PTM North Carolina studio, onto the show, Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
What's up, y'all?
Oh, man. Ready to get it started and ready to take on our 3-time returning guest, earning his PTM PhD spotter for the number 43 RPM car of Bubba Wallace on Twitter at Freddie Kraft. It's Freddie Kraft. Freddie, what's up?
What's up, man? I hadn't realized you used to be the Micro Machine guy back in the day, reading that fast. I mean, I didn't realize I was dealing with a celebrity here.
200 plus times is what it takes, and it's still not exactly any good. But we try it.
Who's got the record for most appearances?
Ooh, I think we've talked about that. So,
Tommy Joe's in there.
Tommy Joe's up there. Brandon Crowd from Lap Traffic's up there. Jeff Gluck has been on a lot, but maybe not as many times as Matt Weaver. So
it's probably Weaver and Tommy Joe. I bet it's those two.
Yeah, up there with them. So they like to talk and we like to listen. So it's always a good time with them. Freddie, you know how we start this show every time. What you drinking on tonight?
I got a little Tito's and soda, so just my usual go-to.
My man.
All right.
Sherwin, what you got?
You know what? I didn't change anything up. I just got the ginger ale and the Jim Beam white label.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, fellas, I'm drinking Kraganmore 12 year. Got it for my birthday last month, about right at a month ago. And I haven't eaten dinner tonight. So I just poured the first one. We'll see, we'll see how sideways it gets by the end of this thing.
I think you did just pour dinner.
Yeah, I think so too. Oh man. Well, Freddie, we talked about it. It's been a while. And I look back, and I was going to put it in show notes, and I searched our website because that's the easiest way for me to find when guests have been on, and it said February 2019, and I was like, well, that ain't right. There's no way it's been like a year and a half. But sure enough, checked with Sherwin and everything. I think for everybody, these last, like, whatever it is, 5 months have gone by so quick that it feels like it's still January right now. But appreciate you coming on, third time after a year and a half.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I'll let you guys have me back. I remember in that year and a half, one of you was talking shit about me wrecking Garrett Smithley at Kansas. So I can't remember which one of you that was, but I'm sure it was one of you.
That had to have been me. I'll own it.
Yeah.
I'll own it.
I don't think you realized you were talking shit about me at the time, but it happened to be me.
Oh, that's funny.
But no,
Well, you called me out, and I received it well. I'll say that.
well, it's good to be back with you guys. What's going on?
Man, I'll tell you what, the last time we talked, that was back in the old innocent days. We were all shaking hands, giving hugs. We were licking each other's doorknobs. That didn't come out right. But now it's, having to do the whole thing over Zoom and everything else. So, yeah, it's been wild. How's it been on the spotter side there?
Man, it's been pretty hectic. It's actually, it's weird to say we're coming off a doubleheader and going to another one. But, it's. I feel like we're getting ready to slow down now, get back to, like, once these playoffs start, it's going to be a normal schedule. But, man, we were doing – I think when the schedule got released after that, like, the second wave of races, we had something like 35 races in 50 days or something like that to spot for it. So it got a little hectic there for a little while. But, it was better than sitting on the couch. I can promise you that much.
No kidding. That's the travel and everything else. And have you been traveling by plane and stuff, or just going on bus trips?
Yeah, so no, obviously remember when they started, they tried to keep it local, so we ran Darlington and Charlotte and a couple local tracks, Bristol and Martinsville. So we kept it local where we could drive for the first month. We've seen where it was going, and now we've been right back into our normal, kind of charter planes with your teams, a couple teams on each plane maybe. So I don't know. We got like 30 guys on a 50-passenger jet usually that we take back and forth everywhere.
Yeah, I gotcha. Now you're living up in Mooresville, right?
Yeah.
Up in Mooresville. And now with the Sherwin in this last year and a half now, but really in the past 2 months has got a new job, and I introduced the PTM North Carolina studio. But Sherwin, you're up there too.
Yep, I looked at an apartment down at exit 36 today.
Where at?
What is it? Carriage Drive? Arium? Yeah. You familiar with that one?
We looked when we first came down here about, 100 years ago. We were over there by like Aberley Green and stuff like that. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, over there right off 36 is traffic central. Like that's the highest traffic area we got. I'm kind of down here on the east end of Mooresville in the sticks a little bit, but yeah, it's not. I try to get away. Believe it or not, I don't like a lot of people. I like people, but not a lot of them. So try to stay away from most of them at the time. As much.
Well, I studied all the back roads from where I'm actually going to be working, and I can avoid the interstate 100% if I want to.
Yeah.
So
that's a good idea. Which is not terrible now that they got them toll lanes open, but it used to be real bad.
Yeah. I'm going to start using that because that succinctly and perfectly describes me as well. I like people, just not a lot of them. And that, I try to explain to people like, well, with like 2 or 3 people, I'm good. With 1,000 people, I'm good. Put me up on display and I'll do all the things. But it's like that sort of middle road when there's 12 people and they're standing in a circle and I'm like kind of backing out of the circle or whatever else. Yeah, I hear you. Freddie, before we started, you just got back from Daytona, and we said, "How you doing?" You go, "Well, I didn't die in Daytona. That was good." Man, was it a close call?
That was literally the hottest I've ever been in a race. Like, I don't know how good the video is, but I'm fried. Like my forehead feels like leather. Just the way I mean, it was. I think I looked down one time. It was like 109-degree heat index. We have an aluminum shelf right in front of our face that acts like a tanning bed for us. So I mean, it was brutally hot. My eyes were burning, just sweat running in my eyes the whole race. You're trying to wipe them out. It was everybody around me. You see, look down the line, everybody's wiping their eyes, trying to get the sweat out of their face. It was that was. I mean, that's probably the hottest I've ever been on a roof before.
I think it was at either Atlanta or Michigan. I'm trying to think of the places where I've been up in the spotter stand, and it was one of those hot summer days. It must have been Michigan last year or something. And I leaned up against whatever railing was there, and like immediate 2nd-degree burns. Like I had to jump off of it. It's exposed up there, I guess the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it like you said, it's everything's hot, like hot to the touch, burn you up. And then, just the reflection of it like magnifies the sun 10 times. So now you're putting sunscreen on 3 times a day. Right. It was just, I mean, there's guys luckily NASCAR has now, as of maybe about a month ago, has let us wear shorts on the roof, which has been like a lifesaver. But some guys ran into the problem of, forgetting they needed a suntan lotion up their legs on Saturday. So there were some guys looking like lobsters coming down on the back of their calves. But I mean, it was hot, but I'd rather take a sunburn on the knees and have to wear pants when it's 110 degrees outside.
Now, not just battling the heat, but were you? Are they still doing one spotter right now?
What do you mean one spotter?
Like
at that
for
track?
the entire Daytona road course?
Yeah, that's not a problem. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When we do the Rolex and stuff, you can see the whole racetrack there. There's one little blind spot getting into turn 6 because they're kind of behind the scoring pylon. Mm-hmm. But other than that, you can if they get off like in that backstretch chicane, if they get in, like if they go to the left and hit the wall, like if they wreck and slide off the wide side of it, we can't see them up against the wall. But if I told Bubba, I text Bubba Sunday morning, I said the only thing I can't see is if you get off to the left and hit the wall down there. So if somebody else is down there and you hit them, you're already in plenty of trouble. We don't have to worry about me seeing you. But so everything else you can see there fine. It's not a big deal.
What track's been the toughest for spotting at this point? I think and is it true still that it's one spotter no matter where we go?
No, so we actually it's been one spotter just for the fact that we haven't gone anywhere really. This is the first road course race we've had. We used 2 spotters at Indy actually, and Indy was the worst one. It was just I mean where we were, they put us in the grandstands outside, in turn 1 and turn 3. And it would have been the most amazing place to watch a race from, and it was the absolute worst place to spot a race from. It was, I mean, we were literally Bubba. I could reach out and high five him when he drove by me off pit road. I told him we were like sitting over turn 1, where like they're just coming straight at us. It was a horrible spotter stand, but it was an awesome seat. Like I can't imagine the people that sit there for the Indy 500 because I would not be able to do it. Like they were right underneath me, and if they were running in that corner 300 miles an hour, it's not going to take a lot for them to get up in your lap.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. No kidding, man. Yeah, and with Indy coming out, they said no fans at Indy 500 too, right? So it's going to be total crazy stuff. But we'll get to that in a bit. Wanted to ask you, since we have the new choose cone or choose rule deal going on, if that's made it any more stressful for spotters or anything, or is it pretty much like, yeah, we know what we're going to do?
Some of the guys are a little bit more stressed than others. There were some guys put a little more. I was lucky enough with Bubba that he's got a lot of experience with it because he ran the summer shootout at Charlotte with the Legend cars, and they've used it there for years. So he kind of already had in his head like he had to do that on his own. There's no spotters in the Legend cars, so he kind of had to do everything on his own for that. So he was just we kind of came up with a number. I would tell him, all right, we're running 22nd here, and I'll count the ones at the top. So, whatever I tell you, 1 to the top, 2 to the top, 3, you just multiply that number by 2, and that's where you're starting. So if you're running 20th and 10 guys go to the top, you already know you're starting 22nd. And if more than that go, so if 14 guys are up there, you're not going to want to start 28th versus, whatever, 8th or 9th on the bottom. Yeah. So, it is, obviously some guys will have a little bit of trouble with it, just not having any experience. And there were some guys that tried to make late calls and drove over the box or the cone, whatever the hell they want to call it. And put themselves to the back, and it's a work in progress. Some tracks are gonna. Michigan was the best place to do it to start with because of how dominant the top lane was. I think you'll see it used a little bit less. I mean, it'll still have the cone, but the lanes won't be as diverse when we go to some of these places.
Won't be as important as like track position.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people brought up Martinsville and stuff, and they're like, oh, everybody's going to line up on the bottom, which you don't really need to at Martinsville. The bottom stacks up, and the top actually rolls pretty good for two corners there. So, I mean, I don't think you're going to see more than a couple guys line up in the same row.
Have y'all taken advantage of it notably yet?
Yeah, that first race at Michigan, we really used the bottom to our advantage. We were running mid pack most of the race, and we just kind of decided, hey, we're going to go down here and take a shot. And it was you could line up 4 rows in front of where you were running if you took the bottom. Basically, that's kind of the way the math worked out at a restart. So as long as you got up before the 4th row got to you, you would pick the guy that the last guy that lined up top before you went to the bottom and say, all right, we went to the bottom when the 48 went to the top, so now we got to get up before the 48 gets to us. And we, 9 times out of 10 we did. We were able to use the middle a lot, and I mean we had 2 really good restarts. We were in the top 5 with 2 or 3 to go, and got shuffled there back to 7th. But we had a really good day.
Yeah, that was a real strong day, and I mean on top of that, Daytona, besides the very end there, obviously, but Bubba's finding some speed, man.
Yeah, it's been going well. We got Jerry Baxter with us, who was our truck crew chief for 2013, 2014. We won a bunch of races at KBM with him. So we've been trying to get him for a long time to come over. And once Drew left, we tried to get him last year, Blickensderfer. And we tried to get him to come last year, and he was kind of doing the truck deal still. And just the way it lined up this year, he didn't have anything, and he was finally willing to not. He's like I tell everybody, he's about 112 years old. So he really wasn't trying to get back on the full-time Cup deal. He was kind of liking that truck schedule, race Friday, get your weekends off. But we kind of talked him into it, and he's been leaps and bounds. We've been way faster this year. We've been way more aggressive with pit calls, getting us in position to get some good finishes. So it's just been really working out well. And we've definitely had more speed, but I think a lot of it is just the aggressive pit calls, keeping us on the lead lap, getting us good track position at the end of the races, and that's just we're probably running 5 to 6 spots better than we were on average last year.
Yeah, and the numbers show. Somebody had put together, I don't know, with everything going on with Bubba and all that, and we're not touching any of that, but somebody was putting together, hey, look at this year versus last year, and look at all the progress that's been made on that team. They're finding speed, and they're doing the right things. So it's really cool to to see that come together. One other rule that I guess is a different. The choose rule sounds like it was more like, okay, we'll try that out, but this one was more COVID decision with the lack of practice. Have you seen any or had any, I don't know, pluses or minuses from that?
I think it's a plus. I think that the teams are showing right now that they don't need practice. And there's teams that are showing they're better prepared to do this. Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin right now are, for a better term, they're kicking our asses just because they unload as fast as you can possibly unload. And we knew that about. If you go back to DBC, the first week they talked about not having any practice. I think the 3 of us all agreed that it was going to be Kevin Harvick's year. Like, he's just the guy that fired off the truck fastest every week. Rodney and them guys got that thing dialed in, and it's showing right now. And then you got a guy on the other side of the spectrum like Kyle. This guy's probably one of the best race car drivers on the racetrack, and is struggling. Who would have thought we'd be here, middle of August, and he doesn't have a win yet? So, we'd like to torture Tony Hirschman about that. A lot of he hasn't won a Cup race yet this year. But, the practice deal, and I think, I thought at the time when they announced it was going to hurt some of the smaller teams, but I think it's almost helped them. It's kind of brought them big teams, the resources they have aren't as beneficial to them during practice, without practice, I should say. So, it's kind of helped us. We unload pretty good, and they don't have time to make their stuff better. We all kind of unload on a level playing field, and they maybe get a little better during the race, but now we can keep up with them for longer.
Yeah. I think the question that looms over almost every one of these decisions that have to be made during, this crazy season, between whether it's a Daytona road course, whether it's double headers, whether it's midweek races, and now practice and stuff, but specifically to practice, do you think that's something NASCAR is looking at like, maybe they don't need this after all? Maybe we don't need to spend the resources or time or money or whatever? Or do you think this is like a one and done, we'll be back to it next year?
No, I think if we have practice next year, it'll be highly abbreviated. I think I hope they don't have any practice, to be honest with you. But I would imagine that they probably will have something like maybe 1 30-minute session and a quick and a quick qualifying session, or make it combined it to have a 30-minute session, and that 30 minutes is your qualifying lineup. Obviously these guys don't want to go by a draw or a formula every week for qualifying, so there's going to have to be some kind of set in stone way to line the field up every week next year. But I think they've shown this year that the racing is just as good, and you don't need to be there for 3 days to do it. We come in, we're in and out in a day now. So I think next year you'll see there won't be any more of the old 3-day shows where we're practicing on Thursday, qualifying on Friday, and racing on Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm hoping it's just going to be maybe practice, qualify Saturday and race Sunday, or even practice a little bit Sunday morning and go out there and race Sunday afternoon. So I don't know, but I definitely think that this has definitely changed the ball game as far as practice goes.
Yeah. Are there any other either like rules or maybe even administrative stuff that is going on behind the scenes, specifically for this year that folks are learning about and thinking, oh well, if we do this, if we just keep doing this, we'll either save a ton of money or save a ton of time, or I guess that's the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's the biggest thing I think these teams are seeing is, with the lack of practice and lack of days we're there, you're saving a bunch of money on your equipment. You're a bunch of money on travel. You don't have to buy as many tires. I mean, we used to burn up, 3 or 4 sets of tires in practice. That's a lot of money. That's probably, $6,000 worth of tires. So, now you're looking at, 2 less days in a hotel room, 2 less days on a rental car per 3 or 4 guys on your team. So, they're saving a bunch of money travel-wise. They're saving a bunch of money on, tires, saving a bunch of money not having to prepare backup cars to bring to all these races. So, it's just a lot of little things that add up. And these teams are, they took a beating during that, during the shutdown there, but, they're kind of reaping the benefits of it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, that's interesting with all the, with all that, like I said, time saved, money saved, everything else, and being able to apply that, obviously apply that elsewhere. Hey, if I don't have to be there for 3 days, maybe I get another set of tires or something. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can. There's numerous ways. Now you can, just get better. Hire more employees. Get better at helping the shop to get your stuff ready. A lot of all these guys are kind of splitting up the shop and not having the same guys, in the shop as on the road. So, I mean, there's endless ways to, but just anytime you can put money back in your pocket, it's never a bad day, I don't think.
No kidding. So, we had, we put the call out for any questions that folks wanted to ask you, and we got quite the response for it. So,
Really?
I'll start off with a few little softballs here, and maybe some of these we've even talked about before, but man, a year and a half later, I don't know if I have the memory of if we talked about it. But
I would have forgot about it anyway, so you're fine.
Yeah, you know what? We'll start with the heady one, and we'll get into the fun ones. So Bart Shelf at CHELF Bart says, "What was your path to being a spotter, and how long? Do you plan on being a spotter for a long time? Are you the next Earl Barbin or Clayton Hughes?"
Well, I hope so. Earl's got about 5 championships, so that'd be good.
Yeah.
But no, so I started out short track racing with my family. My dad was a figure 8 driver back in Riverhead, New York, Riverhead Raceway. So he's actually one of the head officials there now. But yeah, so I grew up. He was racing before I was born, so I had no options. I was the kid that wasn't hanging out with his friends on Saturday nights during the week, or Saturday nights on the weekends. I was going to the racetrack. So I just did that. I raced for a little while when I turned 16. Didn't have the money, didn't have the time to do it right. I was kind of more into going out and hanging out with my buddies and working on my race car. So my dad got pissed off about that, and that was pretty much an end of my racing career. So, and just to try to get the feel of, the same kind of feel of driving, and I didn't want to just be another crew guy, like turning wrenches, and I felt like that wasn't putting me back. Like I wanted something that I can get the same rush out of, where I was, actually felt like I was part of the race. So I just started spotting for some of my buddies, and turned out I was pretty decent at it. And then just started from there, worked my way up the ladder at short track, from like the middle level divisions to the highest level division, which was the Tour Modified. Won a bunch of races there with that, and moved to the Tour Modified Series, which was the Whalen Tour up in Northeast. From there, I got it hooked up with Bubba and started spotting some K&N races with Bubba. Feels like 100 years ago. And just kind of worked my way up from there. Went to ARCA Racing with Venerini Motorsports, truck racing with Bubba at KBM, Roush Xfinity. My first Cup deal was with Tommy Baldwin Racing when Michael Annett was driving his car. Tommy's been a longtime family friend of my family's. So he was, willing to give me a shot at that. And just kind of, we knew, like me and Bubba always talked about just always working together no matter where we went. But I knew that they weren't going to just hire. As we got higher and higher up the ladder, they were wanting more experience. So the first truck, we went to the truck deal. They didn't want to hire me because I didn't have any truck experience. So I told Bubba, I'm like, I got to work my way up and get Cup experience before you get there so that I've got a couple years under my belt so that we don't have to go through this again. So we kind of got split up a little bit there. He was running the Gibbs stuff for a little while, so I wasn't spotting any of that for like a year or so. And then we just got hooked back up, and I was doing Cup stuff while he was running Xfinity. So it just worked out good. And as far as longevity, I'll do, as long as they're paying me to do it, I'm going to do it. Always looking for the next thing. I like to talk. I like to talk sports. Get on that podcast with Brett and them guys and have some fun. But that's maybe down the road. Try to do some of that stuff a little bit more. But right now, I'm just happy trying to win some races, man.
Well, I didn't realize you had been with Bubba that long. That's actually really cool. You've seen
it's not really
like the entire anthology of what is Bubba Wallace.
Yeah. So we hooked up. They actually called a buddy of mine, Mike Herman, that spots for Buescher now. He was with Stenhouse forever, Truex before that. But he was actually spotting for Ty Dillon and K&N. Him and Bubba kind of came up at the same time. So he just called me up and he said, "Hey, you want to do this kid Bubba?" It was a family friend of mine. They got hooked up. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll come down this weekend and do it. So we went down. Bubba was 16 years old, K&N racing for Revolution Racing, and we went out and won first race out in Greenville Pickens, and we've been stuck together ever since, like a pain in the ass marriage. Can't get away from each other.
All right, so this is another one of the things I continue to interrupt Rusty on every chance I get when somebody brings his name up. Tommy Baldwin, toughest son of a bitch in the garage, or what?
Tommy's you don't want to mess with Tommy. He was he's a little bit of a wild one. I've known Tommy probably my whole life, honestly. Him and my dad were really good friends, and I've since I can he kind of moved down before I grew up. Really, he probably moved down south when I was I don't know 10 years old maybe. So I never got really close to him until I moved down here, and he was at my, if you want to call it a birthday party. I don't really remember what happened, so I couldn't tell you what it was. But he was there the other night hanging out, and but Tommy's just been great to me. And like you said, he wasn't, there's been many a video. You can find that video, the Casey Kane, Tony Stewart wreck where Tommy's down there ready to rip Zipadelli off the pit box. And it's just, you don't see many crew chiefs in the middle of the fight usually, but Tommy's not one to shy back away from everything.
I have seen that video.
Yes, sir.
Without a doubt.
Sir. You had mentioned, coming through everything and you're doing good as a spotter. What makes a good spotter? Or maybe on the flip side, what do crappy spotters do that's different?
I think it's hard to say. Like I tell everybody a lot of times, there's hard. People, every time you do a show like this or a Q&A somewhere, it's always who's the best spotter, what makes a good spotter, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. I could spot for Bubba, and Bubba could tell everybody I'm great. And I could go spot for, I spotted for Greg Biffle for a year, and I don't think he thought I was very good, So, it's just the way you mesh with a driver. Obviously, the number one thing is, you can't get hyped up. Your driver's already hyped up. You don't want to add to that. You want to try and keep them even keel, level-headed. And then just information, man. Feeding them information, knowing the rules. I mean, one of the biggest things that I think that, you run into when people don't know the rules or know the unwritten rules of what's going on the racetrack. We saw that a couple weeks ago with that kid trying to pit from the third lane. Like, if you're a spotter, you can't let that happen. You know what I mean? If the crew chief jumps on and makes a call and the kid's in the outside lane, you got to be the one. I know a lot of times you don't want to override your crew chief, but you have to in that situation. You can't let that kid try to do that. And, just stuff like that. Not saying that his spotter is a bad spotter by any means, but, you just got to know the situations. A lot about situational awareness, just knowing the rules, feeding your driver the right information. Don't let them do something stupid and get yourself taken out or take out other people. And then just a lot of times you see a guy coming up and he wants to impress somebody or something, and he tries to make a hole that's not there, or trying to get a guy up in a hole that he shouldn't get into, or pushing too hard. It's not a hard job, I promise you. They just, don't screw up. don't try to make a hole that's not there. Don't let something stupid happen like what happened to Kansas with that kid. And just, if nobody knows who you are, then you're doing it all right.
I think I can like copy paste that to my exact job description in a totally different field. Yeah. It's not too hard. Don't make too big a splash. Just do your thing.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
fun.
follow my own rule a lot because I usually spout off of the mouth too much and draw a little bit too much attention to myself. But I try to back it up with whatever I say being true.
So moving on, Joe at JoJo_6040 always asks the same question. I think it was like PTM number 30 that she first asked it, and I love this question asking folks. And again, maybe we asked you before, but it's been a year and a half. What's something that you this usually starts a good story? What's something that you forgot coming into a racetrack?
Forgot?
Yeah.
I don't think I forgot anything really. I mean, not that I can recall. I mean, I've had dreams of forgetting everything. Clothes, you have the dream, you wake up in a trailer in the infield naked and you got to get in the roof in 5 minutes. But I don't think, I see there's guys been up there, forgot their headsets. I thought, last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, I thought I took my bag out of the trunk of the rental car when I got to the track and I was like, thing's awfully light. I said, I don't remember putting I'll have moments of panic. Like, did I put my headset in there before I close it up? But yeah, I don't think I've ever forgotten anything. Hard card. I know Brett left his hard card on the plane one time. He was freaking out about that. But yeah, I don't remember forgetting anything in particular.
It's funny because I think it was Ross Chastain who said he forgot his hard card, and he was like, I'm not well known enough at the time, at least, to be like to play the don't you know who I am card.
Yeah. I think Bubba did that too somewhere. I think he left his hard card behind.
Man.
But,
so
yeah,
it's
I think Brett. So Brett, it's a good story about Brett. So they went to Clint's lake house in Lake of Ozarks, and they took Clint's plane, and Brett didn't realize when they got there, the plane had to leave to go to get serviced. So he just the stuff he didn't need at the lake, he just left on the plane. And the plane took off back to Missouri, wherever it was going, and a loaner plane was coming to get him. So when they were hanging out for a couple of days. When they went to leave, Brett's like, "Hey, where's the plane?" He's like, "Oh no, we're taking this plane." He's like, "But my spotter bag is in the other one. I got all my radios and stuff in there." So he was lucky enough that we got him some loaner stuff to use for the weekend. But yeah, he made a big mistake on leaving his bag on the wrong plane.
Yeah, that's funny. I can't imagine walking up to one of the gate guys, and a lot of them are really cool. Every once in a while, you reach the one that he wants to be the tough guy.
Oh yeah,
but
Sergeant Slaughter.
Right, and you walk up and you go, "Hey man, I forgot my hard card." Okay, who are you? I'm supposed to be racing in about 30 minutes. Who is going to believe that one? For Ross Chastain. Oh man. If I remember right, so you mentioned forgetting pants. If I remember right, Jeff Gluck had told us that he forgot pants to one race. Now, the story is he was wearing shorts, and to go down in the infield, of course, at the time had to wear long pants. And if I remember right, he went and bought some sweatpants from one of the gypsy vendor things. And it had the only ones he could find that were long pants, because it was like a summer day or whatever, was some Dale Earnhardt pants that had a big old number 3 on the thigh. So, here comes a media guy in number 3 sweatpants to come talk.
I bet Gluck looked good in them now. He could pull that off, I think.
Yeah, if anybody could, I think he could. Oh, man. So shout out to Kenneth Fly at KJFLYE, who asked about a funny story about Spotter Brett, and you've already offered that one up. So the last one we have, Kathleen at KHI Fans says, when are the new DBC shirts coming out with Freddie on them? The fans demand them.
So Brett screwed that all up yesterday. We've actually got some new logos made up. Jason, our amazing producer that we give so much crap to, he actually made everything up, and we got him. We haven't made the shirts yet, but we were supposed to take pictures for the shirts yesterday, and Brett bailed out on us for the day. So got delayed a little bit, but they should be hopefully by sometime 2030 or 33 or something like that. We'll get those out. But I don't think there's enough room for all 3 of our big ass heads on there. So I think we gotta tweak the logo a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you can ditch TJ's.
Poor TJ. Poor guy.
Is he though? I mean,
Not
he
really.
babysits his own kids.
I was going to choke him out yesterday, but I decided against it.
Well, fellas, cover your ears, possibly, because I'm about to blow the PTM horn here. Here we go. That's the one, the foghorn. That is
Horn.
Yep, that is the whatever I always call it, the highest honor you can get on the PTM podcast. In that, if you call last week's winner on the show, or next week's winner, whatever it is, you get the horn the next week. Now, being homers here, and I hear I'm wearing the Bubba Wallace hat. If I'm not rooting for Bubba Wallace, I'm rooting for Chase Elliott, and Chase wins at the Daytona Road Course. 3 road wins in a row. Here's the stat that can't be a stat. Chase is 7th all time in road course wins at 24 years old right now, and he's batting something like 36%, 37%, something like that on lifetime wins at road courses. I don't know. What do you think's that special sauce, Freddie?
If you listen to DBC this week, I kind of touched on it a little bit. Obviously Chase is a hell of a road racer. He's even coming up through the ranks, he was pretty good. I remember him almost winning, or he might have even won. I forget, somebody got together at the Canada road course in the truck race, and I can't remember if Chase got turned or if Chase turned somebody and won. But I think he might have won.
He got into Dylan.
Yeah, that's what it was, Dylan. He's always been pretty good, but we kind of found out about like this kind of test program that they've been running over at Hendrick now for a little while with SCCA races, running a cup car in there. So I'm sure that's not hurting their case anyway. But I mean, they were all fast on Sunday. They were, Jimmy was up there in the top 5. Bowman was back and forth to the front all day long. It felt like, right up until the point he got driven through the back of me. And then, Byron was up there. I think he was 5th or 6th at the end there. So, the whole team as a whole, obviously they're building really good cars, and then Chase is taking advantage of it. Plus, it didn't hurt that his main competition kept shooting themselves in the foot, with Martin having some penalties and Denny knocking the fender on his stuff. So, he just did everything right Sunday, no mistakes. All you got to do in our world usually is limit your mistakes, and you're going to put yourself in a good position.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, actually. That's a very sobering way to say it, just so that you can just kind of, hey, let's temper our expectations down a little bit, Chase Elliott fans. We got a young kid in our hands who's winning races. He's doing it in a way that maybe we haven't really even seen before from somebody who's supposed to be an oval kind of guy.
Well, right. And, growing up in Atlanta,
maybe that's just fun to watch.
Yeah. And growing up in Atlanta and driving the bull ring, I mean, obviously you traveled all over the place, but I don't know. I feel surprised that road course is kind of like where he's really settled in as the favorite, the ringer, everything else. But I don't know. That's pretty cool. How about Kaz Gralla, by the way, subbing in for Austin Dillon, who tested positive, and he brings home 7th. That's a hell of a run, a hell of a resume builder for Kaz, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Kaz is a good kid. He's got a ton of support behind him. He's some family money there. Great kid, really good road racer. He's always been. He'll jump in K&N stuff back in the day. He ran really well at Road America last weekend in the RCR Xfinity car. So it was kind of a no-brainer. Obviously, there was some Jordan Taylor rumors out there. Maybe they were trying to get in that car, but after that, there's no brainer to put Kaz in there, and he did a great job. He might not have been a top 10 car all day. He was probably more 15th-ish average. But they hit the strategy right. They had some fresher rubber and played the track position at the end and capitalized on it to get in the top 10. So, like I said, it's all about where you put yourself in position at the end of those races. And, tires didn't really make a difference. I mean, not a huge difference in that mid-pack area. Obviously we stayed out and got turned there at the end. But, I mean, if we didn't get turned, we were probably a 20th place car all day, and we were probably going to get a top 10 just by putting ourselves in the right spot there at the end. So, a lot of it, you don't want to say luck because it's not luck. You have to do a good job all day to get yourself in position to put yourself in the right spot at the end. So he did a great job, kept himself out of trouble. A lot of guys didn't. A lot of other rookies or some other veterans even, had a tough day, and he kept his nose clean, had himself in the right spot, and capitalized on a good finish.
Sherwin, PTM 98. Like, not even triple digits yet is when we had Kaz on. So it might be time for another a repeat effort there.
Yeah, we probably should. And Kaz was announcing that he was, it was his intention to enroll at Georgia Tech to study mechanical engineering with a focus in racing. But he had a racing platform at his fingertips, and he is still doing such.
Right.
Kaz ended up on our shit list because he made us wait about an hour on the plane. I guess he was doing a bunch of media after the race was over, so we jumped him and beat the hell out of him when he got on the plane an hour late. But other than that, he was okay.
Well, that almost seems fair in a lot of ways, really.
Yeah, it's like hazing. We're not allowed to do that anymore, so we don't really call it
that. we need to have him on again soon so that we can be like, hey, what's the deal with the black eye? So same question as before with the practice stuff and everything else. With the Daytona Road Course, do we do it again next year? Are we done with it? Or are we kind of meh? It doesn't matter. What do you think there, Freddie?
I don't mind going back. I thought it was fun. I would not go back if it was the same idea as Charlotte, where we taking away an oval race to replace it with a road course. I would never be for that. I think we need to have both. Daytona is just like it says on the building, world center of speed. So I think we need to run our two oval races now. If they want to replace Pocono maybe or Indianapolis, something that is like a snooze fest for us, I'd be all for it. But yeah, like. I don't mind racing there. I don't mind racing some of the. I think we're going to see some more road courses pop on the schedule here. Maybe not next year or the year after. But I don't want to do what Charlotte did and replace an oval race with a road course.
Yeah. So moving on to let's talk about Bubba for a little bit, and specifically. So he just the team just picked up the sponsorship with Columbia Sportswear. It's going to be, I think I saw at Dover, the fastest fish in NASCAR. We've got DoorDash partnering up for a multi-year deal with RPM. Cash App joining RPM. Beats by Dre was announced there a couple months ago, I think, at this point. And Bubba's looking at either contract extension or contract elsewhere, etc. I'm not on the rumor mill stuff trying to talk about all that, but there's a lot of momentum going on, man.
Yeah, Bubba obviously he kind of took the initiative to get out there and kind of put himself out there on a platform and obviously polarized some people with some of the stuff he said, but he's. You can't deny he's, a huge personality in our sport, and he was before any of this stuff happened. He's always, into, you guys, have seen him probably, I'm sure. He's as real as it gets. He always wears his heart on his sleeve, super emotional kid.
Yep.
And he says what he's thinking. He means what he says. So, I think that endears him to people, and he was just able to, step up a little bit in performance this year. And these are sponsors that are signed with Bubba now. They're obviously on the 43 this year because Bubba's in the 43. But, these are, namely the DoorDash deal and I'm not sure about Columbia and stuff. I know that DoorDash deal is a big deal for Bubba. Mm-hmm. And, it opens up some options for him next year if he does want to pursue a ride elsewhere or something like that. But, obviously, I love all the guys at RPM. I love everybody there. Our bosses, our crew chiefs, all the guys. We've been there 3 years now. I'd love nothing more to see us be able to go there and be successful and win races next year and compete for championships. It is what it is. What can they do? We've talked about this on DBC about, to win races right now, it seems like you got to be in one of four places. And, and these four places build their own stuff. They manufacture their own cars. You're not getting, you're not going to RCR and getting a car like we are. So, we need to put ourselves in a better position to have better equipment to compete for wins. Right now we can run top 10 sometimes. We can run top 15. That's really, really good for what we got going on. But, at some point, I've heard Bubba say this, you don't want to keep hearing, oh, you're doing really well for what you're driving. Like that's not, it's great. It's great that you're, performing well in cars that maybe shouldn't be performing as good. But at some point you want to lose that moniker, so we want to step this RPM program up and win races with them. And hopefully that's the direction we're going in. And if not, I'm sure Bubba knows the next best step, and hopefully drags my fat ass along with him somewhere. So we can keep this train rolling.
In the meantime, are you getting like some sweet loot out of Columbia and DoorDash and Cash and everything? Like Cash App sending you some cash and DoorDash giving you all the food and some new Beats headsets and all the Columbia sportswear you can wear.
Yeah, I'm just getting fat because DoorDash keeps delivering food to my house. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to talk to him about that. But yeah, I'm waiting to see when we have to start delivering for DoorDash. I figured he worked out in the contract somewhere. We got to hit a button and get one of us to go there and drop their food off or something. But yeah, it's great. I'm just happy for him. This is opening up some options for him to kind of take this next step and figure out what's best for him and not be so worried about what's next. For a couple years, for the last 2 years at RPM, you go into the year not knowing what we've got for the year as far as funding. So now, no matter where he is next year, he knows he's got the funding to compete for the year. You know what I mean? And that takes such a load off your shoulders getting in the off season, and once you get settled into wherever you're at, you can concentrate on your job and not where's the next 5 races sponsorship coming from and this stuff.
Yeah.
So it just hopefully opens him up to where he can concentrate on his job and get the job done.
Dude, so what a great PR opportunity. I love these things where like the drivers go out and do like the normal person thing that several years ago with the Jeff Gordon thing where he did the test drives or whatever with some local car dealership and took them on a hell of a ride. But how about Bubba Wallace or somebody just door dashing, delivering to your house or something like that, and see who recognizes or who just kind of like, oh, thanks, man, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Here's $3.
I'm sure it wouldn't surprise me to see him in a little red suit driving around somewhere, dropping food off.
So I'm gonna kind of third degree fanboy out here. Have you met the King?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he says. Yeah, I've got him on speed dial.
The King will see me. The King's usually the first one on the plane when we leave because he'll probably, who knows, depending on how we're running, he probably bails out of there as soon as he can. And like every once in a while, he'll be like, "Hey, come here," and of course you go running over there, whatever he wants to say. And he's like, "You should have told him to get up on the top of the racetrack right here." So I'm like, "I did." Oh, okay. It's like, I know you're 85 years old, but listen, jeez, I did say that twice, actually. The best thing about our team, I shouldn't say this right now because I'm not allowed in the garage, but used to be, and they're not even allowed at the racetrack, I don't think, between Dale and Richard. But just the relationship that Dale and Richard have is the funniest thing you could ever see because everybody, the King, you guys know it, he's the King. There's only one King. Elvis is dead. So, everybody treats him like the King. You walk on eggshells. He's the man. He comes walking in the room, gets quiet, except for Dale, because Dale has put up with him for 1,000 years and doesn't care about the King at all. So when the King will start saying something, Dale will be like, "Shut up, stupid." It's hysterical to watch. He tripped on something in the hauler. Not long ago, last year or something, and kind of tripped down the stairs of the lounge and fell, and everybody jumped up like, "Oh my God, is Richard okay?" And Dale's like, "You shouldn't be wearing them stupid boots." It's just, it's like nobody would ever think to say anything like that to Richard, but except Dale, he gets away with it.
I love it. Moving on here, this is a bummer, and I hate this. Mike Harmon's dually, his hauler, his car, all stolen. But the first thing I thought was, have you seen those movies where like this 2-bit thief steals something that's way above their pay grade, and like now they've got to deal with something like now they've really messed up because everybody's looking for this thing now. It feels like that's what this is. Like somebody just like, oh, I'm gonna take this this truck here and it's attached to this trailer. I'm gonna just take this whole thing, and now you've got a NASCAR car to deal with. Like I don't know how you're gonna hawk a NASCAR car. You know what I mean?
I wish somebody would have stole this stuff right before they all decided to stay out and screw up the whole Xfinity race on Saturday. But
oh, there's that.
Yeah, I don't know. This old Harmon. I feel like didn't this happen recently with them? Like between him and Jennifer Joe, didn't they get a whole trailer stolen not that long ago?
Yeah, Jennifer Joe did.
Yeah,
You know,
and
There was like a
involved in that.
lawsuit or something involved there.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened.
it was a whole ordeal.
We'll see. I've seen some teams chipping in to help him out to get to the next race. So hopefully he gets to the next race, and hopefully he decides not to leave his cars on the front row and screw up the whole race this week.
No salt. No salt.
No, none at all. Got guys up there racing their asses off, and then we have to all get wrecked because there's 2 roadblocks on the front row.
Well, moving on then. Talking about the playoffs, as usual, as we have playoffs in the last several weeks. I mean, pretty much it looks like Jimmy and Byron is who we're all talking about. The bubble has sort of expanded to the point that those are the 2 focus points. Minus anything crazy happening there. We've got Dover Daytona coming up, and Dover means kind of Jimmy. I guess we'll start with Freddie here. What do you think Jimmy's chances are of trying to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think I think Jimmy's going to have the advantage here. Obviously at Dover, that's been probably Jimmy's best track. I feel like forever. Chevy's obviously got a little more speed this year. Something's changed in the middle of the year where we've kind of given some of that speed back, or somebody caught up to us because the Toyotas have been pretty quick. But I think advantage Jimmy going to Dover. I think the biggest thing is just going to be the wild card that Daytona is. Obviously, that's going to be insane. I mean, anybody can win there, obviously. So now you open the door to there's literally probably 30 guys on the bubble, to where it could be any of them that go there and win. And then just, the exciting thing from the fan standpoint is, just going to be watching them guys at these stages. I mean, you could, if Jimmy, you try to play it safe and ride around in the back and somebody like William goes out there and wins the first 2 stages, that's 20 points that they've just gained on you and erased. I think the deficit's now like 25 points or something.
Yep.
I mean, that's now he's 5 points out. So, that the watching Jimmy, William, Clint's right there kind of on the bubble. Eric Jones is out, watching them 4 guys just race as hard as they can for stage points at that Daytona race is going to be interesting. And it's probably going to cause some wrecks and hopefully not some big ones, but it'll be interesting for sure. That this is what they wanted. They wanted that wild card race right before the playoffs started. It's going to be fun.
Well, Bubba's had success at Daytona. Are y'all, looking at anything there? Some insider information. What's the story?
Yeah, we're gonna win. I mean, that's all there is.
My man. I love it.
Obviously, and it plays into a team like us. We can kind of play the game a little bit because we don't care about stage points. We kind of got close there, and we had a little bit of bad luck at Charlotte and broke some hubs and gave up a bunch of points. We were looking about 50 points outside the bubble in 18th or 19th for a little while there, but we just fell off, had some bad luck, and had some equipment failure. But so now we're, I think we're over 100 back of the bubble, so you're not looking at points anymore. You're looking to win a race. So now we can lay back that whole race and watch these guys wreck at these stages and maybe eliminate 10, 15 cars that we got to race later. And then we can go up there and run the bubble, run for the win. And, I feel like every time me and Bubba go to a plate race, we get more comfortable with each other and we get more in tune with what the other one's thinking. We've got up there and led the last 2 or 3 of them, just working the lanes and stuff. So I think the more we do it, the better we are getting at it. And just, the biggest things obviously can be surviving like it always is. And then putting yourself in the right spot for those last 20 laps to be able to get to the front and race. But yeah, we're going there guns a-blazing to try to win this thing and bust somebody's bubble.
Right on. Indy 500 coming up. We talked about it a little bit before. Marco Andretti on the pole, first time in 33 years for an Andretti. So, whether you call it the curse or the blessing now. But are you going to be watching there, Freddie?
No, I think we're racing, unfortunately.
As it turns out.
I'd love to watch it. We the best used to be, that the Memorial Day there. You get up, you watch the Monaco Grand Prix. I would get I'd get in the living room, watch almost. I try to watch all the Indy 500. It just sometimes run a little long before we had to shoot over to the racetrack and start the 600. So, but yeah, it's going to suck not to be able to watch it. It's always just. I mean, it's the biggest race in the country. It's probably the biggest race in the world, honestly. And just the fanfare. It's going to suck. I can't believe with as big as that place is, they can't have whatever, 20, 30,000, 50,000 fans. I mean, the place holds 300,000 plus seated. So, I mean, you could figure out a way to distance there, I would think, but it's going to suck to not see the fan base and the lure of that event that it usually has. But, you know, it's still the Indy 500. There's going to be still guys going. I mean, I thought it was really cool. I don't know if you guys saw the video of the Penske guys like cheering Marco on at all. I don't know if you got to go back and find that, but it was really cool. They're in their little debrief trailer, whatever they got, and it's like Helio, Will Power, and Newgarden, and then they're like cheering Marco on, you know, like, and as soon as he gets the pole, they all go nuts and high-fiving each other. So it just shows you what the Andretti name means to that sport, and these guys are, you know, a rival team, but they're just so happy to see him get the pole. And I'm sure they're going to want to beat him on Sunday, though. But it'd be awesome if I'll be, you know, pulling for Marco to win that race just for the, you know, the family history there, and Michael never winning it and stuff. So that'd be awesome to see.
Yeah, right on. Sherwin, you were saying?
Oh no, I was just saying I think it's awesome. I think it's really fun for Indy in a time where we are experiencing this weird stuff where, you know, not the same amount of people can go. And I went to my very first one last year, and I can attest personally to what it looks like when 400,000 people are at a racetrack for a race. And I do believe I will subscribe to Freddie's theory that this is the biggest race in the world, without a doubt. And it doesn't matter that it's on American soil. That's not what makes it the best. What makes it the best is it's maybe the most diverse race in the world.
In what way?
Oh, just how many different countries are represented.
Yeah.
Represented. This teams. You know, obviously everybody would love for more suppliers to be involved. Just from a manufacturing perspective and helping that whole side of that industry. But, you know, the Indy 500 is something very, very special.
Yeah. Yeah. Freddie, what's a track that y'all are, that the RPM or Bubba Wallace team or whatever is looking forward to the most, that you're kind of, you know, sticking your head up going, hey, this is where we've got something going on?
Yeah. I mean, obviously you always got to look at the plate races. Those are our best chances to win. Dover's always been a very good track for Bubba. You know, a lot of it last year, we didn't have a very good year last year, but that was the old package where they kind of took away all the, you know, it was kind of locked into wherever you got, like their cars were glued to the racetrack and it sucked. So hopefully this year we got to drive them a little bit more. We can get back to Bubba's, you know, Bubba's loves Dover. I mean, he's been on the pole there in a truck and Xfinity. He's got a second in the Xfinity car there, won some races in K&N and stuff. So, you know, that's a good place for him. Martinsville's been great for us. You know, we ran top 10 there. We were super fast that first race this year and just kind of got behind the eight ball a little bit on one run and couldn't make it up, but we were really, really good there on long runs. So hopefully when we get back there, maybe, you know, we could turn some heads again. Obviously Bristol, he's been pretty good there in the past. So, you know, basically, you know, we look at short tracks and the plate races. You know, the places where the driver, I feel like, shows up a little bit more and you're not so dependent on the equipment is places that we can excel at.
So they've started releasing or different teams announcing the Darlington paint schemes. Those are being unveiled. Couple I guess notables for me. Austin Dillon's number 3 Junior Johnson with those racing stripes and kind of the hand painted everything that was pretty cool. And for whatever reason, the Newman Oscar Mayer Wienermobile deal, I don't know why, but I love that one. Has Bubba announced his yet?
No, not yet. I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. We got so many to pick from we got a hell of a closet full between Richard and Kyle and Adam. The one I don't know how we'll ever top the one we ran last year. That Adam Petty throwback was my favorite car we've probably run over there. But yeah, we've got. I mean, one year we switched in the middle of the weekend. Like we ran one paint scheme from Friday and Saturday, and then rolled out. And I'm looking at the car on the grid, and I'm like, it's complete. What? I text Bubba. I said, what's going on? He said, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we were peeling the wrap off, and there was another wrap underneath. It was a different one of Richard's car. I'm like, now we got 2 throwbacks in one weekend. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
you got to tell your spotter.
Yeah, I mean, let me know.
Right.
We had a blue car yesterday. Today it's orange. I don't know what's going on.
Right? Yeah, man. Last year, I mean, I would say at first it's kind of like a tearjerker for Adam Petty, what went on, and seeing that thing. But it's one of those like shake your fist up high sort of. That is awesome. That is so cool. So yeah, really looking forward to what Bubba's doing this year, and like you said, he's got quite a repertoire to pull from there. And you already answered my other question. I wasn't gonna ask what it is, but I was gonna say Freddie, do you know? But it sounds like we don't even know yet.
Not yet. I mean, they might know. I don't know. But we got some of these sponsors rolling in right now. It's hard to get paint schemes going. They probably, I think they had to do this DoorDash one in like a week. So that's good. That's a good problem to have, though. I don't think we'll ever complain about it.
No kidding. Well, fellas,
no doubt.
It is time to gas it up. Here we go. It's the Dover Double and the Indy 500. But Dover, the big, I guess the big news there may be different from the rest of the year. We've got the invert rule. So top 20 are the top 20 starting lineup for the second race is inverted from Saturday's finish. Is this like is this a thing, or is this just kind of like whatever? Those guys will just drive up there. Freddie, what do you think?
No, I mean it's the thing for sure. The biggest thing about it is these races are shorter. When we do these doubleheader weekends. So you've seen a guy, Michigan doubleheader like Clint, didn't run very good on Saturday, gets out front because of the invert on Sunday and dominates the first stage and gets 10 stage points, So, and you've seen this a lot with like Eric Almirola. I don't know whose ass he was kissing, but I felt like he drew the front row every race and got a bunch of stage points in the first stage because of it. So, these guys obviously the cream's always going to rise to the top. But when you have I think the stage lengths are like 70 laps at the first stage at Dover. If you start on the pole or the top 5, you're going to get stage points. And them guys that won yesterday starting 20th are probably not. So I think that's the biggest thing. And as tight as the window is now for that playoff bubble, and you think about it. Like we've talked about it every race. I think we're running 18th to 22nd. It's like, all right, remember that 20 invert, we got to, if we're 22nd, we got to try to get up there to the 20th or, if you're 18th, you're trying to defend them spots so you don't get back to 21st. So, it's something you got to put it, you got to work it into your strategy there at the end of the race so that you can flip that for the next day and maybe get some of them stage points or get track position. The biggest thing in our sport right now is track position. The tires don't wear out and they don't, and the speeds don't slow down. So if you can get decent track position, like at Michigan, we started, I forget, 8th or 12th or something like that. And we were able to hang on for, a top 15, top 16, whatever it was in that first stage, just because of track position. Our car wasn't very good, but guys couldn't get around us. So, we held on and kept our track position. And that was the biggest thing we do last year was we'd go down a lap early or something like that. So now you're keeping yourself on the lead lap and putting yourself in good position for the end, like we talked about.
Sherwin, what are you looking forward to for Dover?
Well, I'm looking forward to whoever's going to take that chance to maybe over-camber the right side and hope they don't burn up a bead in order to grasp some speed, because I think we're going to see a lot of cautions.
Yeah. Freddie, you think we're looking for a caution-filled race here?
I hope not. But that place there is a lot of load on the tires. So, they're going to get recommendations from Goodyear about, what to do with these tires, air pressure wise, camber wise. And some of these guys don't really listen, or they try to push the envelope. We've seen that at a couple places. Indy comes to mind. These guys, they want to go fast. You don't want to leave speed on the table. So it's just a risk versus reward deal. Where are you willing to risk blowing a tire to be that guy that goes out there and dominates the race? So, I think Sherwin hit it right on the head. You're going to see guys that, if we get on a long run there, they could pop a right front and pound the fence, pop a left side. The left side's been wearing out a lot this year for whatever reason. But, it's just this place here it's fast. Bubba in the K&N car, we blew a right front here, and Bubba pounded the fence, and it was ugly there. He couldn't talk to me for about 10 minutes on the radio. So, these guys, this is no joke, this place. And hopefully, we talk about this on our show a lot. You want to see these guys driving. And last year they weren't, they were obviously driving, but the cars had so much downforce. They were glued to the racetrack. They didn't have as much motor. So it's just, the racing there last year was awful. So hopefully this year they've got less downforce. They're going to have to drive these things a little bit harder. And you want to see guys on the edge of wrecking. You want to see guys, spinning out and losing control of their stuff. And hopefully we see that. Obviously you don't want to see anybody get hurt or wreck real bad. But you want to see some caution. You don't want to just see these guys out there riding around in circles.
So at this point in the show, we usually do some picks. And I am not above brown nosing. So, I am totally in for Bubba Wallace and making sure that I'm pleasing the guest here. But besides Bubba Wallace, who are you looking out for? What are your maybe top couple or three going into the weekend that y'all are looking at as far as, hey, these are the guys that we really need to pay attention to?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Jimmy. This is Jimmy's place, man. He's always been good here. Chase has been really good here the last couple of years. So I'll play back to you guys there, so I kiss your ass a little bit, I guess. But yeah, Chase has been good there. Sleeper guys, Matt Kenseth was always really good at Dover. He hasn't had much speed in that 42 car of late, but he's been always pretty good there. And then you got your normal guys. Harvick's going to be really good. Danny's going to be really good. Kyle will probably be good. Truex. This is kind of almost a home race for Truex. It's probably the closest one to Jersey there. So, the normal cast, but you got some guys in there like Jimmy and Kenseth might turn some heads.
Right on. Sherwin, who are you looking at?
Penske.
It's all
doubleheader. I don't know if we're boxing these things or we're just going to pick one guy and see if he gets a good finish for the weekend. But, I'm not ready to give up on Blaney winning in the regular season. So
Blaney, he's already won.
I'm going to pick Blaney.
Blaney?
Yeah,
Has he? Did I screw that up already? Oh, that's right. Okay. My bad.
But you're right.
I'll still pick
He
Blaney.
needs to win on one of these tracks where it's not a restrictor plate because he's way fast.
Mm-hmm. It's do or die time for Jimmy. As far as I'm concerned for this thing, and I've held on all season that Jimmy's making the playoffs, and I think this is the last time where we can make some waves here. So I'm looking at Jimmy, and you know what, I'm just gonna keep going for the brown nosing, and Bubba is gonna look at these strong finishes that we've had recently. So I'm wearing the hat. I'm talking to the spotter. I'm going Bubba. So, dig it.
I like it.
You know what, Freddie? It's about time to close this thing down. We appreciate you being on. We know it's we enjoy it. We
certainly
love
appreciate you being here, Freddie.
Sherwin, you're up.
Oh, sounds like we're having some technical difficulties there. A little. I was going to say, Hannah Newhouse is getting back in a race car. You guys go, follow Freddie and Brett and everybody at Dirty Mo. And you'll figure out where it is you can get involved with Hannah's racing. She subs in for Casey every now and again. I imagine she'll probably sub in a little bit more once Casey pops that kid out. At least we hope so.
That's right. Well, folks, you know where to find us at PTM Podcast, PTMpodcast.com, and all the places where you can find your favorite podcasts. We really appreciate old Freddie Kraft being on with us tonight. Can't wait to talk about next week. See what happens after a double Dover deal. And then after that, we just got one more to go. So before the playoffs. So can't wait to talk to y'all then. Appreciate you hanging out. Talk to y'all next week. That's a wrap, gentlemen. We are still live on the old YouTube, but we are done with the recorded portion that's going out there. Freddie, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do it again before 2 years is up or something.
No kidding, right? Yeah, like I said, I was flabbergasted. And then Sherwin reminded me, he went back and he's like, well, back in January I asked Freddie, and Freddie was pretty busy back then, as it turns out, getting ready for a whole season. And then, COVID starts and it's like, I don't know what's going on. And then 5 months passes by like nothing. And so there we are.
A week.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Appreciate you hanging out and everything. We've had a blast.
Thank you, Freddie.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
I will talk to you guys soon.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, man. I'll take it. Hang on. Later.
Thank you.
All right. And it is time for the old PTM After Dark series, as it turns out. All I'm going to do is start uploading this thing. And Sherwin, what's happening?
I was just tweeting or texting out on the thing, After Dark.
Let's see.
I don't know if anybody's still over there or not.
Saving this thing down. I don't know if I upped our number. That's what I need to do. It is 256. At the top of the show, I was like, wait. I didn't update the number. What is it?
I heard you say that, and I was like, whatever. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So a 256 for my fellow computer nerds, a power of 2. So, that's
true. What
that's
is
as
it,
good
2 to the 18 or something like that?
I think it's just to the 8th or so. Something.
8th. Oh, okay. Not 18. That's a lot.
2 to the 8th. Let's see. Yep, 256. That's as much as you can fit in one byte of information. 256. So there we go. For once again, this is PTM After Dark. It's for our tech nerds. I know Roger's with me there on that one. Yeah. That's as good. I don't know. That's as good as any other round number for computer nerds.
Jumpy Bob's like, I cannot read another word that is the playoffs. It's never the same again, or something to that effect. Playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, my internet right there at the end went bonkers. Everything else, like we had an hour and 3 minutes of perfection, and then, buggery at the end. But yeah.
Fatigue. Right. Internet fatigue.
Right. So, yeah, in binary, this is our 100 millionth episode. So, we should be proud of that.
Sweet. 100 millionth.
100 million.
Hard number to count, too.
That's right. So, there we go. Let's see. Let's log in.
That's like 111 days or 110 days of 1 second per count without sleeping.
New episode. Let's get this thing uploaded. Feels like forever ago, but last week was Brian Finneran. So crazy how that all works out.
Yeah, B Finn. He was good too.
Yeah.
People liked him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
It was different. It's coloring outside the lines.
That's what we'll do every once in a while. Let's see here. Where am I at? We are 1 minute remaining in doing the encoding and blah, 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 and getting this thing saved down to where I can then publish it on the places where I publish.
Why can't Eric Almirola win? I don't know. Ask an easier question.
Matthew Todd, why can't Eric Almirola win? It's a good question. I'm looking forward to him winning. Yeah, we'll see. He's on the cusp. It seems like every week, right? I
think, right?
I think.
You run 10th for long enough, you eventually start running 5th. You run 5th long enough, eventually you win a race.
Right.
That's sort of how that shit goes. Or at least that's how they describe it anyway. Is, you can't expect to win until you're, competing pretty regularly for top fives.
So, yeah. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Yeah. Let's see. 256. Time to upload. Okay. And there we go. We are uploading. The bits are happening. The ones and zeros are getting one and zeroed. Same for the 18. Man, I don't know. Week in, week out at this point, I'm not sure I'm ready to call the 18 for a win, Sherwin.
They are not exhibiting what you would expect from that team and that driver and I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Like they're not ready to win. They're not knocking down the door.
Mm-hmm.
They're falling apart.